Norman. Deb is the founder of Triskel of Light Astrotherapies. She combines all modalities to bring solutions and change. She started her healing journey 26 years ago, and she was born a psychic medium. Trained with some of the most knowledgeable souls on the planet, Maggie Kerr in psychological astrology, and counselling to Tony Robbins, Dr. Chloe Adanes from RMT Centre in strategic intervention, life coaching and psychotherapy, and Proctor Gallagher Institute with Jeffrey Allen. She's also studied metaphysics, hands-on healing and spiritual awareness with Rev Lee Russell, the body tree, and Reiki Sesheim, theta healing, food intolerance with level 1 kinesiology, crystal healing, and liquid crystals. Wow, that is quite a mouthful. Please welcome Deb Norman.
Hi, Mel. Thanks for having me here. It's such an honour to be here.
You're welcome. Now, with all your beautiful skills and knowledge and expertise, I have, this burning question that I think a lot of us have had in our life. And that is our life, Deb, mapped out before we're even born?
Absolutely, and we are actually responsible for that. We have a soul pod that we travel with. There's usually about 17 in our close karmic pod. We swap roles with them. We get round a table with them and our life guide, and we decide what we want to learn. And everything that we put our hand up for is for our expansion. So it's all about learning how to get through adversity and coming back to unconditional love. So we'll swap roles with these other soul pods. We could come in as their mother, they'll be our mother, they'll be our husband, they'll be our children, and we just role play over and over again until we can expand through that and understand other perspectives.
I must admit, it can be difficult to grasp these concepts when you might have never heard of this type of thing for our viewers watching. Yep. But as we know, those who hear our messages today and are meant to hear our messages and resonate with us, it's all divine timing. For me, I know when I first heard that, there's other lifetimes, we've experienced other lifetimes, it was a very hard concept to grasp. And I often, growing up and going through life, I thought, is there such a thing as fate? Or are we the creator and we can change and choose what we have in our life? Because there's some mixed messages in there that I'd like that we hear from different people. And again, it does come back to, I guess, our perspective, because we can hear the same thing from two people can hear the same thing from one person and they'll take away a different perspective. But in your opinion, is it our fate?
I prefer to look at destiny rather than fate, because when you put it in fate's hands, you're actually putting the responsibility of your life outside of yourself. You're putting it in the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, where you say, okay, let the chips fall where they may, which means it's like a car without a driver in the driver's seat. It's just going to go crazy. So I like to flip that from fate to destiny, where I can empower myself and others to say, okay, we're fully responsible for our incarnation here, and we're behind the driver's seat, and we can create our own greatness or destiny rather than leave that in the hands of something outside of us. And I think that's very empowering for women.
I think it's so important that we do grasp that concept, because I hear it so often and people just say it's fate. When your number's up, your number's up. And, if you're going to get an illness, you're going to get an illness. If you're going to get that job, you're going to get that job. Now, I know for me, I very much come from the space that, I teach my children that we are the creators of our life, and we can create our own destiny through our thoughts and our intentions. And, we can map out our life, that we have got the power to choose and to change.
Yeah, we do actually have contracts. There's a couple of different types of contracts, but the ones of probability and possibility, they're the ones where I love to look in someone's psychological chart. You know, that's basically their birth map where the sky was frozen on their first breath, and it's like a map of your soul's experience here and journey. And I believe we are downloaded with information on how to run that. It's just laying in the dormant cells at the moment. So with the birth maps, I love being able to look in there and say, okay, the possibility of this happening, because this is one of the contracts that you made before you came in, is that it could go either way. Now, it depends on your soul growth and what you've done and your awareness level to how this is going to map out. So you can change the result. You can make it work for you rather than against you. It may still work out where, oh, I've had a really bad day, but you can use that to your advantage. And that's the contract, that's the possibility contract where, okay, I'm going to have, say, an accident. I know that's coming because I need to understand and learn and grow from this. But I have the ability, depending on how I react to that, to turn that into something positive, where then you've got your other contracts that are certainty contracts. Now, these are the really heavy-duty ones, and these souls, I have to take my hat off to them, because what they put themselves through, I couldn't do it. And they're the ones that come through with severe disabilities, or the ones that come through that die from a horrible disease, or an event takes place where they end up in a wheelchair. You know, they've put themselves in this position and agreed to it before incarnating and said, yes, I know that the growth that will come from this, that I can bring back to the collective, is going to just be priceless for everybody, and everybody will grow from that. So, you know, they're pretty special souls. Then you've got your contracts of people that, or souls that will set up to come into join with the personality, where they have the post-birth contract, which is where they're flung out of their original soul pod, the ones that they know and understand and love each other, and even though they're going to hurt each other, you know, they know it comes from love once they're out of the physical. And they're the ones that can be adopted or can end up being thrown into a completely new soul family that they don't recognise. So this is about experiencing isolation and learning how to come through that adversity and back into unconditional love. So that, again, is another hard one to work with.
Wow. Yeah. So why can't we just be born with a manual and given our soul contracts? Like, why is it that you know this and I don't? Why some people have these gifts and others feel like we're just driving through life blind?
I see them more as learnt abilities. We're all from the same source, so we all come through with the same ability, the same knowledge, the same awareness, but it's covered in distortion. It's covered in layers and layers of what I call genetic predisposition. And this is all the encoding from our family line that goes right back seven like layers of family members, especially down the women's line. So it's activated every third generation. What that means is when your mother was in her mother's womb, you were being downloaded and encoded genetically with all of their paradigms, all their fears and beliefs. So when somebody does certain behaviours and you ask them, why did you do that? And they go, I honestly don't know. They actually don't know. They've been habitually reacting from cell memory, and most of it's not even theirs. Now, the strange thing with that is, I was thinking the other day, okay, so we're in a soul pod. There's about 17 of us. We're swapping roles. So I've been their mother, their daughter, their lover, their bestie or their auntie. And that's all genetically encoded into our cells. And the physical body is made up of stardust, basically. We have the same components as the stars in the physical, in the personality. So what if not only was that genetically encoded into our cells, but all the lives that we've had, that we say, okay, so we're genetically responding to things based on paradigms that we inherited from our grandmother. And then I was thinking, well, at some point we were our grandmother. So what if these genetic predispositions are actually our own codes from our lineage, but our codes that we put there. That was just a thought I had this week.
Yeah, very interesting. You very intriguing and making you think outside the box, really. And not everybody's open to spirituality, but if it's the right time for them and they're here listening today, then it might just ignite that little spark of interest within to actually explore and just go and have a conversation and see where that leads you. And if it feels right, then it is right. If it doesn't feel right, maybe there's something else for you. So, Deb, you practice psychological astrology. How does this help us to find balance?
Oh, wonderful question. Well, when we look at an astrology chart and we add the psychological aspect to it, it's pretty much showing us our karmic family, where we've been, who we've come into be, what experiences we've set up, our challenges. It shows the parents, mother, father, siblings, relationships that are going to come in and how we're going to interact with them. But it also shows how the voices within us interact with each other. So every planet out there represents a voice within us, and that our job is to attend to all these voices and get them to work as one. So the challenges in a chart where you're having hard aspects show us where we're imbalanced and where we're not getting on within. So, of course, we're going to pull that in from outside of us, and it's going to play out in, within another person as a conflict, but it's really our own inner conflict. So if we can look in and see which voices aren't working in a chart and talk to somebody about how to meet each need and get them all to work for each other and with each other instead of sabotaging, then we can bring about complete balance and wholeness within, and that's going to reflect in our outer world.
Beautiful. So you read people's charts?
Absolutely. It's like a map.
Is that from before they were born, or the present, or the future, or all?
Oh, the birth map is what we do is the minute they take their first breath when they're born, we freeze the sky and take that photo. And that is basically their map of their soul's journey. And it can also tell us where they've been before, the attitudes they've brought through with them, what's not working for them and where they're headed, what they came here to do.
Yeah, beautiful. And it sounds like amazing work that you do, Deb, and really want us to say thank you for joining us on the International Women's Day Summit and sharing your wisdom and knowledge and expertise. Where can people reach out and connect with you?
Oh, and thank you for having me. They can find me on Facebook on School of Light Astrotherapies. That's my astrology page. Or they can find me on my website, which is www.healthylivingwithdeb.com.au, or just Deb Norman on Facebook as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.